There is a $5 fitting that joins any water pipe in under 10 seconds. No torch, no solder, no flux, no skill. You push 2 pipes into it with your bare hands, and it holds back full water pressure for 50 years. A plumber will charge you $200 to do that same job with fire and molten metal. So here is the question the trade will not answer. If this is faster, cheaper, and stronger than soldering, why have they spent decades making sure you never use it? Let's find out. To understand why this fitting is such a quiet threat, you have to understand what joining a pipe has meant for 100 years. For generations, connecting 2 pieces of copper was treated as a craft, a skilled trade. And there was a reason, because the standard method was genuinely difficult and dangerous. It is called sweating a joint. You clean the pipe, coat it in acidic flux, slide on a fitting, then heat it with a propane torch burning at over 1,000 degrees until it melts solder on contact. The molten metal is pulled into the gap and fuses the 2 pieces into one. Done right, it lasts for decades. But done right is the catch. Underheat it, and you get a cold joint that looks perfect, then leaks weeks later inside your wall, where you cannot see it until the ceiling turns brown. Hold the flame too close to a stud, and you can set your home on fire. So for a century, this was the deal. You either spent years learning to control fire and metal, or you paid someone who had. The difficulty was not a flaw. It was the moat that kept the trade exclusive and the invoices high. In most trades, difficulty is a problem to solve. In this one, it quietly became an asset to guard. And then, someone made the moat disappear. The device that did it is called a push-to-connect fitting. You may have heard a brand name for one version, but the technology is the same, and it is deceptively simple. It looks like nothing special. A small brass sleeve, no bigger than your thumb, with an opening at each end. No threads, no glue, no heat. You push a pipe into one end until it stops, and you are finished. That is the entire installation. 10 seconds, with nothing but your bare hands. And here is the part that truly unsettles the trade. It does not care what pipe you give it. Copper, PEX, and CPVC, 3 materials that each normally demand their own tools and training, all slide into the same fitting and seal the same way. One $5 part erases 3 skill sets at once. So how can something you push together by hand hold back water that would blast a bad soldered joint apart? The answer is hidden inside that little sleeve, and it is genuinely beautiful engineering. Cut one open, and you find 3 parts, each doing exactly one job. The first thing the pipe meets is the collet, a ring of stainless steel teeth angled inward like the barbs on a fishhook. As the pipe slides in, they flex out of the way. But the instant water pressure tries to push the pipe back out. Those teeth dig in and bite down. The harder the pipe is forced outward, the harder they grip. Behind the teeth sits the part that actually stops the water, a precision rubber O-ring made from EPDM, which shrugs off hot water, cold water, and time. As the pipe slides past, the O-ring is squeezed tight around it, forming one unbroken seal. And water pressure does not weaken that seal. It reinforces it, pressing the rubber tighter against the pipe. Then there is the third piece almost nobody notices. A thin tube liner that slides inside softer pipes like PEX to hold them perfectly round, so the teeth and the O-ring have a true surface to grip. The simplest way to picture the whole thing is a Chinese finger trap. the woven toy that grips harder the more you pull. Push in, and everything slides easily. Pull back out under pressure, and it locks. The engineers did not fight the water pressure. They recruited it, turning the one force trying to break the joint into the force that holds it shut. Teeth to hold, rubber to seal, a liner to keep it true. No chemistry, no fire, no curing time. Pure mechanical force, applied so precisely that a connection made by a beginner holds the same pressure as one made by a master of 30 years. And that is the idea the trade has never been comfortable with, because it means the skill was never the magic. The fitting is. You might assume something this easy must be a compromise, not something to trust inside a wall. The data says otherwise. A quality push-to-connect fitting is typically rated to around 200 psi and water up to 200 degrees, far beyond a normal home. Many are certified by the same standards bodies that approve every other fitting in your house, rated for permanent concealed use, with warranties that commonly reach 25 years. This is not a patch. By every standard that matters, pressure, temperature, certification, lifespan, the push-fit joint stands shoulder to shoulder with the soldered one. And it is more forgiving. No cold joint to fail, no flux to corrode the metal from inside. And these are not some fringe gadget. They sit in every major hardware store, and professionals reach for them constantly where a torch would be dangerous. The quiet adoption already happened. Most people were just never told. So we have a connection that is faster, safer, needs no skill, works on every pipe, and lasts for decades. Which brings us back to the only question that matters. If it is this good, why is it not everywhere? The answer has little to do with the fitting and everything to do with what it threatens. A plumber's value is not just the hour spent in your home. It is the years they spent learning to do something you were told you could not. That difficulty is what justifies the rate. And a $5 part that lets you make the same connection in 10 seconds quietly makes the skill optional. Now, to be honest, there are fair reasons a professional still reaches for solder. At scale, soldered joints cost pennies while push-fit fittings cost a few dollars each. A skilled professional can sweat a joint nearly as fast as you push one. Those are real preferences. But notice what they are. Reasons a professional might choose solder for their own work, not reasons you cannot use a push-fit in your own home. That leap from "I prefer solder" to "you should not be allowed" is where preference quietly turns into protection. We were taught the torch is the real way and the push-fit is the shortcut. But it is nearly backwards. The torch is the primitive solution, with fire, poison paste, and the risk of a hidden leak or a house fire. The fitting is the sophisticated one, removing human error entirely. The hard way was never the better way. It was just the profitable way. So if you want to use one, here is the right way. Cut the pipe square and clean. Then deburr the end, because the sharp ridge left by cutting can nick the O-ring. Mark how deep the pipe must go. Push past resistance until your line meets the fitting, and tug to confirm. And if you ever need to undo it, you do not cut anything. Press the small release collar, and the pipe slides right back out, and the fitting can be reused. A $5 fitting that joins any pipe in 10 seconds sounds too good to be true. But it is not a trick, and it is not new. It is honest engineering that made a century of difficulty unnecessary, which is why it met so much quiet resistance. A great deal of what we are told requires an expert was only ever made hard so it could be sold back to us. If pulling back that curtain is something you want more of, subscribing is the simplest way to make sure it keeps finding you. And next time you think your home is too complicated to touch, wait until you see what is hiding inside your electrical outlets and the cheap connector replacing a tool electricians have guarded for 100 years. That is the next video. We will see you there.